For the last part of 2.3, I'm going to go through example 7. Example 7 is our one-word problem. They're basing it on printing costs. They are essentially creating an artificial situation so that you're going to get a rational equation. So if you're telling yourself, I could have done this much easier, you're absolutely right. But given the point of this is to come up with a rational equation, which will be useful in many other situations you'll encounter, you do need to go through the process and repeat it on the homework so you understand it well. So, you're creating brochures to promote your school's sports event. So you're creating brochures and to advertise a sports event, you pay $20 for computer time. This is in the old days, remember, when people had to charge for computer time. You're paying $20 for computer time, and the cost, once you've done it on the computer, the cost for printing the brochure is 60 cents per brochure. Okay, write and graph an equation that gives the average cost in C dollars per brochure. Remember, these are always per brochure. This is in dollars, C dollars per brochure. So it's the average cost per brochure as a function of the number B of brochures printer. So as a function of B brochures. In other words, the more brochures, the less cost, right? If I'm doing 100, right, they're probably going to cost less than if I'm just doing 20. Okay, so let's talk through this, right? To get the cost per brochure, CB actually, I have $20 in computer time, and all of this has to be over, right, the number of brochures. In order to get the cost per brochure, it all has to be divided by the number of brochure. So $20 is my computer time, and that total time is going to be divided by the overall number of brochures. And in addition to that computer time, the other thing I have to pay for is 60 cents per brochure. But that 60 cents has to be multiplied by the number of brochures, right? If I'm dividing the total by the brochures, my total cost is $20. 60 cents per brochure times the number of brochures I'm doing, and that's my total cost. But to get it per brochure, I have to divide my total cost by B, the number of brochures. So just to simplify my equation, it's going to look like 20 plus 0.6 B divided by B equals C. I'm just going to tack on C at the end again. Okay, so that is my equation, and that is the main question that needed to be answered. There is below, if you look at the guided practice, they're saying what is the cost of a brochure. Let's see. They're saying graph the function. That's the second portion. Well, graphing the function is really just a question of looking at your asymptotes. And so to graph it, I would take this function and I would simplify it. I would say C equals 20 over B plus 0.6 over B divided by B is just going to be 0.6. And so I now have a rational function that I can graph, and I'm not going to do it on this page just because of space, so I'm going to rewrite it. My equation is C equals 20 over B plus 0.6. Okay, to graph that, again, I'm only going to do the first quadrant because even though this is a rational function, which would appear in the first and third quadrant here and here. We're only going to do the positive branch because it makes no sense to talk about negative brochures and negative money. So we're going to look at just the numbers that make this branch come true. And just to get a sense for the number of brochures, we're looking at a cost of $20 that we're paying just for the computer time. And so we're just going to plug a number in. So if I were just doing one brochure, right, my total cost is going to be $20.6. But then who's going to do one brochure for $20.6, right? But if I put in 10, I'm going to get 2.6, right? 20 divided by 10 is going to be 2.6. And then if I put in 20 brochures, they're going to be $1.60. So it looks like I should really try to go roughly in increments of 10. And it's going to be, and we really want it to be in cents. So I'm going to probably guess that I'll go roughly up to 50 on this x-axis for the number of brochures for my domain, and maybe up to $5 to $6 on my cost. So here's my cost this is dollars per brochure, and this is going to be the number of brochures. And the number of brochures go in increments of 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And if I have to go further, I will, but I'm hoping I don't have to go too much further. And then here I'm going to do roughly, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because going any higher per brochure just is completely unrealistic for costs. Okay, well, let's graph our function. And to do that, we're going to do our table. And we've already kind of played with numbers. So clearly, again, 0 is the asymptote because it's this axis, the cost axis. If I put in a, let's see, we'll put in a 10 for x. 20 divided by 10 is 2, plus 6, I get 2.6. So I'm going to be right here. If I put in 20 for x, 20 divided by 20 is 1, so I get 1.6. And if I put in, let's see, I'll do 40 so it's a little easier. That's 1/2, or 0.5, plus 0.6 is 1.1. And then we'll just do 60. 20 divided by 60, I get 1/3, which is 0.3333. 1/3 plus 0.6, I'm going to get roughly 0.93. And so it looks like this is roughly what my curve is going to look like for my cost per brochure based on the numbers of brochures printed. Okay, this is the end of 2.3. You have a quiz now, in which I've put on Google Classroom. That's going to cover 2.1 to 2.3. I made sure that I went over all the problems for you to look at. Make sure that you look at some of those videos so that you are well prepared.